Hi everyone, it's Justin here, Voices for Voices. Thank you so much for joining us, whether you're watching, listening here in the United States or across the world. This is your first show, or if you've been with us since the beginning, thank you so much. This is your first show, or you've been with us from the beginning. Welcome back, and welcome to the Voices for Voices podcast and TV show. We have over 540 episodes in our catalog, so be sure to go and check back through our catalog, as I'm quite sure that there are many episodes that will be of interest to you and yours. Just a great day to be alive. We have these days where uh, we look at what's our purpose, and we talk about this from time to time. What are we here on earth to do? What are we uh what are why am I still here? Why are you here? Why are we here on earth? And so I have a belief, and again, this is just me, doesn't have to be you, that the higher power, God, Jesus, for me, has a reason for me to be here. Well, I'd like to know, and while I'd like to think I have an idea, I have no clue. Uh, I, I just go one day at a time, and I think that's really all any of us can do is to take life one day at a time. One day we could be in the hospital with a condition we never knew we had. We could be having emergency surgery, or we could be playing in the Super Bowl and getting American football, winning touchdown or winning field goal, winning safety. Uh, and so from day to day, we'd like to think we know. Um, and I think the way I have approached it, now looking at this kind of in a deep level here on this particular episode, the the more opportunities, whatever they may be, they don't always have to be money. Uh, Opportunities present themselves over and over again. I'll give you an example right now, filming this podcast episode. So once we're done filming, all the editing that goes on, getting all the links, the descriptions, the uh, title of the episode, getting it out on social media, and all those. And I'd like to think that there's a reason why those things happen. Now, it could be the opposite, where we're filming the show, the electricity goes out, and that's tied to the internet connection for us. Well, might not be able to finish the show. So we might not be able to get to those additional steps to, as I was mentioning, editing and all that. And so I take a look at that as, okay, well, there's a reason why this show went forward, why it was able to be shared with people all across the world. And and so maybe that has something to do with why I'm here, why I'm still here. Some people look at it like, oh yeah, you're just doing a show, and yeah, we are. We're just doing a show. We're not, I haven't cured anything. I haven't cured any diseases. I haven't, you know, I haven't done what will be looked at as extraordinary. But for some reason, we've made it to over 543 episodes. So this is 544. So for some reason, whether I like to understand it or not, we've we're doing it and we've done it. You might ask, well, what happens, like you said, if the electricity goes out? And, well, we can't do anything about that. Um, we can always go to the library. So we do that sometimes, depending on the show, depending on the get it. You know, we've gone to we go to the library, especially having Lucy as our pet here. And you've probably been hearing sounds and seeing things flash in front of the screen saying, am I seeing something? No, that's her and her toy she can tell when we're filming, and that's okay with me. Um, but sometimes the show just means that, well, we'll just go to the library and film it in one of the pods that the library has. So then we do that. We just make plans to do that, and then we do it. Now, could their electricity go out? Absolutely. Coming from a family with my dad, that's one of the things one of the big things he did. A lot of the time, I mean, he had work obviously throughout the day, but there are a lot of times at night where there could sometimes be an accident, weather knocking down a telephone pole, knocking electricity out of homes for hours, sometimes days. And so it's part of what he did is getting the proper materials onto the trucks so the individuals that are driving the trucks that we see out driving in the road can go up in those bucket trucks and fix. And and so in that case, well, that might knock out the power of my house. It might knock out the power of the library. It might knock out the power of a lot of things. And so you might ask, and what do you do? Well, we do the best we can. Maybe maybe the show we had planned, maybe there was a reason why. I Not that I know the reason why, but maybe there's, this higher power reason why this particular show wasn't filmed. And then sometimes we have shows that we do film and different circumstances uh, come up, and we may not drop those episodes. And so that's an option as well. Uh, and so what you say, what do you do? Well, we wait until the circumstances present themselves so that when the time is right, we drop the episodes. Uh, and I know a lot of this is very, very, I don't say simple-minded, but it, it just gives you like a peek back behind the curtain of our show, how we do it. Um, Preparation is huge. I'd say that's one of the big benefits of having the mind and the mental challenges that I do have, because I'm able to uh, I'm like a photographic remember. I don't know if remember is a word, but I remember by photographic memory. And so I do prepare for all the shows at some level, some more than others. If it's a guest I've had very little experience understanding, researching, then I'm going to do more of that hands-on research. Uh, Otherwise, we have conversations. Like we're not in the business of trying to, do these gotcha questions to try to have as many clicks as possible. Yeah, would we like to have, all 8 billion in the world, which we know it's not possible because there's children in that and children shouldn't be on the computer at certain ages. But anyways, that's just my personal opinion. Uh, would I like every single person in the world? Yeah, I would. But I also want to make sure that the content's reaching the right people. I would prefer our content reaching the right people instead of just a lot of people in the episode and the show and the organization and Voices for Voices doesn't doesn't really resonate as much. Uh, and that would be something as far as, planning. We can only do so much. I don't own the internet. I don't own uh, all that stuff. Like I don't have the controls at my disposal. We try the best we can, but that's all we can do. And so don't feel bad. Like there's only so many things we can do, like as human beings. And so if we're getting opportunities to keep presenting themselves, whether they're paid or whether they're not, and they could turn into being a uh, paid job, paid career, there I would say take an extra look at those particular um, things, those particular experiences. Just take an extra look at that because there's a reason why, and we might not know it. Like I don't. I mean, if somebody asked me 10 years ago if I would believe that we would have now with this particular episode, once this drops, 544 episodes, I would have said, I don't know. I would like to, but that's a lot of shows. That's a lot of time, not just in front of the camera, but all the things that we talk about behind the camera that nobody sees. They just see or hear the show and go, oh, that's easy. Well, okay. And so I always try to challenge people and say, well, if it's easy, then go ahead and do it yourself. I'm not competing with anybody except myself. I mean, that's what it all comes down to. Is like how can I, Justin, make the shows that we do and the content we produce, how do we make it so it's beneficial, not just to one person or one group of people, but as broad as possible so it resonates with more people. So if this show goes through, then we're going to have 544 episodes. If it doesn't, we're going to be at 543 and we're going to give the show another shot uh, and see how that one goes. But as of right now, filming wise, uh, it's looking and feeling like this one's gonna make it, but I don't know. Again, there's so many things out of my control, out of ours as humans, out of our control that I can't change that. Like I said, the electricity goes out for 5 days, and that includes the library and family, and well, I'm gonna have to wait 5 days. I mean, that's just the fact of the matter there. and I can go get mad and get upset, but it was nothing that I could impact. Like I can't impact whether electricity continues to be flowing. I can just try my best and put the show and the filming in the best conditions possible where we have succeeded in film shows for a long time. And so that's going to different areas, whether it's remote, whether it's in person, whether it's again, yeah, in person, traveling to do a show. Um, what happens if I'm planning to travel to a show to meet with a guest? And what if for some reason all the airplanes are grounded and they aren't going to be able to get me on a new flight for 2 days and my interviews tomorrow for the show? What can I do about it? Not a whole lot. I'd have to be able to get to a car, have the money to be able to pay for gas, and do it that way. And so there's been a lot of times where I've had to adapt to um, adapt to different conditions, different environments. And all of our shows are very important, all of them. I mean, you might think, whoa, you've had this guest and that guest, and then well, that's it. Well, our show's more important than just one guest or two guests or anything like that. It's the full embodiment of all of our content. So I've been thrown a lot of curveballs in my lifetime, and I have been able to, not all the time, I don't know, maybe 50, 60% of the time, sometimes 70, been able to adapt to a situation that I couldn't do myself, meaning I couldn't control what was happening, but I found a way to do it. And sometimes we're going to be able to do it, sometimes we're not. Sometimes we're going to not get that interview, we're not going to have that show, we're not going to be able to do the thing that we want to do. But then there's going to be times that we are. And what I and as I'm kind of talking here, that can deter a lot of people. It probably deterred me at some level, some point in time, many points in time probably, where I'm like, oh, well, it's not meant to be, so I'm just gonna not do it. Just like the gym. Can't believe I made it, right? 15 minutes or so without talking about the gym. Uh, so I was planning to go to the gym today, and then I ended up taking a quick nap. Well, the quick nap got it close to um got the time close to, well, I had to leave basically within about 5 minutes of waking up to go to the gym to get the workout in. Uh, and so I had that again, I had that easy, lazy thing of, all right, well, I'm just gonna keep sleeping. Or I'm gonna keep sleeping, just uh, I'll go to the gym tomorrow. But I picked myself up and I said to myself, Justin, we're going to go to the gym. And so that's what we did. We went to the gym. It wasn't the easiest thing to do. I had the strength to do it once I got there. It was just that in the distance, the gym didn't get any further from where we reside. So, nothing, the gym wasn't going to be like an extra 25 minutes than what it usually is. So I couldn't use that as an excuse. The only excuse was I'll go tomorrow. But there was just something inside me that was just like, no, like let- let's go, let's do it. Take 5 minutes to get there. We get there, we do whatever workout, and I'll give you a quick example. So one of this has nothing to do with how much weight we lift because I don't lift that much weight. I'm looking more to for the tone than the huge muscles and all that. Uh, the bench press. So I went and that I was on chest today, and so I first got to the gym. I went and looked. But there's multiple. There's decline, incline, and then there's like two like regular bench press machines, I believe, two or three. Anyways, the one that I was going to use that I have used for my bench press, and I say I'm not lifting much, I'm lifting the bar, so it doesn't bother me saying that. Now, if this was in my 20s and I was lifting the bar, I would have been like, Justin, we got to do like we gotta find a way to increase, how much weight. But for me, I didn't care. I just wanted to get a workout and be toned, and that's my goal now in life for like my body type. I just want to be as toned and try to lose as much of my belly as possible. So when I got there, I got to the gym, I immediately looked to where I do the bench press. And there was weight on there. So there was like a 45 pounder and a 25. So it was like 70 pounds on each side. There is no way. Okay, Lucy. Like I said, Lucy knows when we're on. There's no way I was gonna be able to lift that. So it was when I first got to the gym. So I thought that there wasn't many people there. They had some classes going on. So there wasn't a ton of people at the gym, which is fine, doesn't bother me. Uh, but the reason why I say that is I was expecting another person to go and lift that weight, go and do their repetitions, like if they were going to lift it 5 times, whatever, how many times they were going to lift it. And so I started doing, so I adapted. I, in my mind, I was like, okay, so this is the one that I was going to use. It looks like it's being used because there's weight on there. So I'll do that one, after the person that's done with that is completed. So I went and I did some machines. I did some abs. I did some chest press and some other chest workout. Used the cables. Did some chest work there. Um, and so as I'm kind of going and circling, the different machines, and then I'm going over and I'm getting a glass of water, and nobody goes over to where that bench press machine. It wasn't a machine. This was more like a free weight bench press. And so I was like, I kept thinking to myself because there's times where like I'm doing a machine or two. and I'm just trying to give, a certain body part like a little extra time off. So, usually that means I'll do the abs and do the back machine and so that's what I would do, and then I'd come back to that machine. So it really didn't bother me. Um, yeah, it didn't bother me until I was getting towards the end of my workout, where that was one of two last exercises um, that I was going to do before I was done and finished. And the person never showed up. I started to gather that they weren't coming back, or it was somebody who was working at the facility. Anyways, there just happened to be not next to, more like behind it, where they had like the incline and decline bench press. I, out of the corner of my eye, I looked over, and the incline or decline just means like your feet are either higher than your head or they're lower than your head, is how that goes. Uh, and so this other bench press was the same exact as the one I was looking for, uh, except the bench that like you lay on, it was maybe like this much shorter, so it was this much closer to the ground than the other bench press. But it was like the regular bench press where it's the flat bench. There wasn't an incline or decline or any of that. And so that's what I ended up doing. And so that was just me adapting my workout so that I could do what I wanted to do. I mean, if the gym was busy and people were, rotating and that, like, it would have been more understandable for me. Then it would have been like, all right, like, let me see if I can jump in with somebody, in between their sets. I could do a set and then they could do a set. And then um, I do that talking. That's usually the most talking that I'll do at the gym. And so that wasn't happening. I adapted the situation. Otherwise, I would be sitting here right now in front of you, or you'd be listening to me, and I would not have completed the workout that I had planned to do in my mind because I would have been waiting. Yeah, and I could have went and took the weight off. Um, and so that was another option that I could have done. But again, I was kind of like in that lazy mode of I just want everything to be ready. So like when I get to that station, when I get to that machine, when I get to that weight, that I can start the repetitions. Uh, so anyway, so that's just an example of adapting. So that was at the gym, adapting. And so in life, we adapt. And I talked about the show, and if the electricity goes out and the internet goes out, and uh, okay, if Lucy uh, is doing her thing and just, being herself, she's going to run around, play with her toys, and could, jump in my lap, and that's fine. Uh, Sometimes though, I don't want that, and so then either um, put her in her kennel, and then we go to a different location to film the show. And we come back, and Lucy's right there. She's right there. And I know it's hard because I've done it and I've not done it. It's hard to do these things. It's very hard. It's not fun. It's not, again, the easy thing I could have done was just in like, you know what? I'm not going to the gym today. And then when I got to the bench press and when that thing that wasn't working out, I could have been like, see, Justin, you shouldn't have went today because look, what predicament you're in. Again, this isn't a life or death situation here. This is just like going to the gym and going, okay, like, is there another way I can do like the freeway bench press? Not the incline or decline, just the regular. And it took me a while because I wasn't just sitting there like thinking for like 20 minutes. I was going and working out on different machines. And so as I was kind of going between machines and that I was kind of like put my eye back on the bench press to see if anybody come back. Because usually what happens is if you're done with the bench press, usually you take the weight off. So you take the weight off, so then it's a clean bar, so there's no weight on any sides, which would be how I would like it because then I wouldn't have to worry about going, oh, I got to take a 10 pounds off each side or 20, whatever the amount is. And again, it's not that I couldn't physically do it and I'm blessed, I'm lucky that I can. I could do it. I just didn't want to, I guess is what I'm trying to get at. Well, wasn't that I was incapable at all. It was I just don't want to do it. I just want to be able to go. And that's with all the other bars, the incline, the decline, and then the bench press. None of them had weight on any of the sides of the bar. Uh, so it's interesting, right? So it's a little bit of a, like I said, adapting life no matter where we're at, whether we're at the gym, whether we're filming a podcast, uh, whether no matter I mean because it applies for everything. Sometimes things are going to work, like if there's three traffic lights between where I reside and in the gym, well there's going to be times where I'm going to get green lights all three of them are going to be green. Then there's going to be other times where all of them are going to be red, and it doesn't mean anything bad. It just means okay, well I'm just going to wait till the light the traffic light turns green. And, and so these are just things that go on in life that we, I know I overlook a lot, and it is not a big deal. It's okay. There's other cars, other people that are dealing with the same thing. Some the exact same, some a variation of what we're dealing with, what we're working with. So let the message be adapting. Be okay to adapt because nothing is easy, especially something that is worth it is, I don't usually like to say like is like all or nothing, except for something like this, that it's the things that matter or are going to have us use our ability, our talents, or you name it. Um, so just be on the lookout for the situations that come up in your life. Some of them we're not going to like, but we're just going to have to do them anyways. And others are going to be closer to something we might like. And so let's just think about that. And if it's something we like and we're given that opportunity, then we we always want to do the best we can, but especially if it's kind of in the ballpark of what what interests us. Because that's why I believe that Voices for Voices in our show and our ministry, everything that we're here to help people. We have big goals, but again, I will always bring it back to one. You can check out past shows to see what that means, that what one means for us. So thank you for watching, listening here in the United States or across the world. Grateful to have you with us and our Voices for Voices family. If you can give us big thumbs up, like, follow, subscribe, share, reshare, repost. And if you're on your phone, download the rest of those episodes. We have now 544. So if you're listening and watching episode number 544, which is this one, there's 543 other episodes you can watch or listen to. And maybe even reach out to 25 or 50 contacts in your phone and share the Voices for Voices family and our podcast with them and let them know they can find the Voices for Voices podcast wherever they get their podcast. Same thing with you. Wherever you get your podcast, you can get Voices for Voices. So until next time, let's celebrate the voices of everybody in the world and let's be a voice not only for ourselves, but for somebody else that may not be able to share their voice. Thank you very much. We'll see you on the next episode. And we are sending our love and support that you do the things that you love to do, that your dreams stay big and your worries stay small. Thanks to Rascal Flatts for that line in one of their songs. So we'll talk to you and we'll see you in the next episode. Bye for now.